It is 7 o'clock in Texas. Thank you for joining tonight. We're going to get started here in just a minute. That was a little bit quiet. Let's see if that's better. Hopefully that's better. You guys let me know how the audio is. Sometimes Windows just changes the audio. Sometimes it just like comes in and says, "Hey, we're going to turn this down." Cuz why not? Why not? So, yeah, sometimes that's how it works. Yeah. Good evening to everyone. AMA shows are fun. Sounds better, Tom says. So, okay. I think that should, according to my meter over here, that should be pretty good right there. Of course, it's going to sound better when I talk straight into the microphone. Let's see. That looks good there. I can turn that up just a touch. See if that's good. A little quiet. Yeah, I was noticing that myself. A little quiet myself. So, that. Good. Better now. Okay. All right. So, we're just going to... Oh, that's you doing that, Frank. You're messing with the chat. But...
when you talk.
I know. So, there we go. All right. Yeah, I've got allergies. And I need to get some of that medicine you had, Frank, because the only thing I've found, Frank had some generic Zyrtec that worked pretty well this weekend. But prior to that, the only thing I found that actually works is Benadryl, which puts me to sleep. But there we go. So what's going on, Frank?
Not much. For the heck of it, I brought up something.
Oh, what'd you bring?
I brought the whiskey that I had yet to take a drink out of.
Oh, you pretty sure Mike and I were kind of plowing into that on Friday.
When I was allergies kicking my butt and I was like, man, I don't feel like drinking. I actually turned in like 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock. And I just didn't feel like drinking. Then the next day I was like, let's do this. And then, we went out and Richard, MTC Richard, was nice enough to purchase a quantity of shots for us.
It was his idea. I mean, the whole thing was his idea. But yes,
I'm glad it was his idea. The barbecue was getting kind of old, having it for all day
long. Night. Yeah.
It was still good barbecue.
Yeah. Of course.
It's still good barbecue.
So that guy was there Thursday night. We chatted with him. He came over and sat in front of our trailer. We chatted with him a bunch. Yeah. His name, like everybody else in ham radio, his name's Jim also. So
great guy.
Yeah.
Talked to him a little bit, and I wanted to ask him to sit down and get his backstory on how he started and going to the Hamfest, and I thought that'd be a great interview. But every time I kind of walk over there, he's throwing logs, cutting meat. Slapping people's hand. Don't open that brisket yet. It's not ready. It's still resting. Right. Which is a very important step. And I totally agree.
It is. Yep. Agreed with that for sure. So, yeah. Gosh, I wish I had some of that medicine right now because 30 minutes ago I felt fine, and all of a sudden it's just boom. There it is.
Wham. Yeah.
So, apologies for the sniffles in the chat today, but there we go.
It happens. That was me over the weekend, and
well, me too. So,
and
Izzo's got Izzo's got a Grand Kuhono from Tatuaje. Tatuajes are great. I'm not familiar with a Grand Kuhono.
They just got
Kuhonu.
a lot of Tatuanes in our shop, Jason.
Did they? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They were very happy about it.
Good. Good. Well, good. Yeah, those are good. Those are good smokes. So, special shout out to all the folks in Green Tech's YouTube channel members. Thank you for the support. AA0AM's in there. Andy Callie's in there. Diego, saw you in there a minute ago. Tom, KB8DXN, of course, N5SKT's in there. Ham Radio Crusader, K7TRD. I saw a couple of you earlier. Philip was in there earlier, W7RHP. So thanks for the channel, YouTube channel membership support. You guys are, Todd and Don and Andy shared your badges. so appreciate you guys being out there supporting the channel. So, Belton was Belton Hamfest, which is a really good swap fest tailgate event that takes place in Texas twice a year, usually in April and October. And last year they did it in March, which was early, but it's usually around the first weekend in April, give or take a weekend or two, something like that. Oh goodness! So it was this weekend. We left there about noon on Saturday and drove to Cedar Hill State Park to do Support Your Parks weekend. The bands were junk. Frank and I set up last night. We each made enough contacts to activate, but the bands were just crap. The band, HRDlog.net, which is an app I use on my phone to show me band activity, said that 10 meters was up. I couldn't hear anything on 10 meters. I think we made some contacts on 20 meters and ended up calling it a night because we worked a very, very shallow pileup for half hour or so.
Yeah.
And a couple of stations here and there, did some hunting and did some park-to-park stuff. A lot of park-to-park stuff out. But, I don't know. It was not the weekend I was hoping for as far as Parks in the Air goes.
I was hoping to walk away with 300 contacts, spending the night and being there the next morning. And I came out around 70 to 80.
70 to 80? Okay. I think I got 65 days total between the 2 days, something like that. But not obviously not as well as it could have been if it was an open, because Support Your Parks weekends usually a lot of activity.
The 20, but what we could hear was popping and busy. There was just a lot of noise around our station.
Well, but even after we turned that off this morning, the band was a little bit better this morning than it was yesterday.
Well, yesterday night it was angry.
Yes,
we heard a lot of people, and I describe it as angry. Several times it was up to a 5 or 9, a lot.
Right, a lot of noise.
I want to know, did Don make it out to a park? I saw him in the chat earlier. I think I asked, but I didn't see his answer. Yeah.
Okay.
Izzo said he might try to hit up a park this weekend. And I want to know the answer to that.
Because N5SKT's in the chat too, and he was at our park, but he went home. He said he made some contacts on 2 meters. Yeah. Hey, I called CQ
we got him in the
POTA.
log.
Yeah, I called CQ POTA this morning from my Tech Prepper Man Pack, and KD5DK, who lives in the area, came back to me. He's like, "Man, I just turned the radio on and happened to be scanning. I heard you call CQ POTA." So I made one actual simplex contact with someone local who was not in the park on 6.52 this morning. So that was fun. It was fun. I was happy for that. So put that in logbook, of course, but it was I don't know. I would have worked late into the night, and we would have stayed until closing time today if the band was cooperating with us, but it just was not. So
it was 2 meter was on fire.
Yeah.
It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I just wish the bands were up better because I would have liked to burn it down.
Right.
Other than that, the Belton was amazing. Ham Radio Hobo came out and hung out with us for a while. Don made it out to Belton also. And then a whole slew of people came up to me and said hi. I ran out of my stickers. I had 50. I was like, 50 should be enough because I go through 150 at a normal large Hamfest. So something small like this, no, I use small just comparatively. It's still a big event here for our Texas. I went through 50 stickers. I was like, next time I will not come that unprepared. So the ones who got them, awesome. Y'all rock. The ones who didn't, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hit me up next time. I'll give you 2. And it was so much fun. Got several take radio. I love hearing that walking around. Say it to me across the room. That would be hilarious.
I heard someone ask you to say that on the air this morning, and you were like, well, there's people sleeping next to us right
Yes.
now. We were trying to be quiet because the people next to us in the campsite, they were in a tent. Mm-hmm. They were in an RV spot, but sleeping in a tent. And we're like, okay, let's try not to be too loud. Yeah, so Frank would do his take radio.
Yeah, but, someone's like, take, is that you? And usually if you call me out like that, I will shout into the mic, you got take radio? What is going on, man? How are you doing?
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah.
It was good, though. It was good.
It
was good that we didn't do that. Yeah, exactly. So
Don did give us an answer, say he's sorry he did not activate, had to work, and
I saw that.
Take care of the kids. All right, yep. He activated Wednesday instead. Rock on, dude. I missed it.
Good. I don't think I have Izzo's call sign in my ham alert. I have most of you guys in my ham alert, but I know I'm missing 1 or 2 people. I got a ham. I was sitting inside watching TV one night last week, like Monday or Tuesday night.
How could you?
And yeah, I think it was allergies that day too. But I was kind of taking it easy that day, and I got a ham alert on my watch that Carlos was activating POTA. So I came out here and turned on the 7700 and tuned to his band, and he was like a 5'1", 5'2". He was, I could hear him. He was clear, but he was not very loud. And I keyed down. I said, Kilo Charlie 5 Hotel Whiskey Bravo, and he came right back to me. Mm-hmm. Hey man, how you doing? So got him in the logbook. That was fun. Mm-hmm. So I like to try that whenever I'm at home in front of a radio. And well, of course, I've always got my radio hooked up. So whenever I'm at home and I get a ham alert on somebody, I like to pick them up when I can.
Am I a bad ham? I don't have ham alert set up.
Yeah,
for anyone.
Yes.
I just don't have a radio. Like if I had a radio, I could jump to it and do something about it. Great, but it would just be more noise on my phone that I'd be like, "Oh, that's awesome! I can't do anything about it."
Yeah.
So there is kind of an excuse, but you can throw some shame at me for that. But I do want to get ham alert going. So when I have my station up, close, I could jump on the bands and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I get everybody my logs, and anyone in Alaska will be in my ham alerts.
Right. Well, you can do that. You can put regions in there. You can put calls. I just put call signs. I just hunt call signs. So like anyone out doing POTA. So every Saturday night when Josh starts his after chat and gets on FT8, my ham alert starts blowing up with that. So, but that's good because I really like to I like to hunt POTA, but I like to make contacts with people I know as well. So I like using it that way. So
yeah,
I picked up the radio that I wanted to pick up at Belton. Yep. This is a 480HX. It is the 200-watt model. So I'm going to try to get this thing installed in the truck this week before I leave for the Moore Expo on Thursday morning. I'd very much like to have this installed in the truck. We'll see if I get complete with it. I want to know, I need to look, and I haven't done that yet, I need to look on Lido Mounts' website. All of my mounts, we talked about this a little bit on Hayden's stream 2 hours ago. If you guys didn't see Hayden's stream, he did a Ask an Elmer for some mobile radio setup stuff. It was a fun stream to be on.
Oh, I saw about that. I had something going on. I can't think of what it was, but I would love to join it.
Yeah, it was good. I got on there about 5:00 my time, and anyway, so I said all of my mounts in my truck are Lido mounts, so I need to find out if a Lido mount has. I don't know if they have one or not for this 480 TS480 head, but that'll be on the list of things to do. So, but yeah, I was able to pick up the radio that I wanted. This was the one radio that I was after, and I was able to pick it up. The other thing I got that I was not after was not really looking for.
How did this even come on your radar at first?
I just like to walk around the show and look and see what's good. because I'm always like on the lookout for a deal or something unique, something that I haven't seen before, or maybe I haven't seen in a long time, or something I haven't never heard of before, which is kind of rare. But some of the older stuff, I found a really beautiful Collins radio. In fact, I'm going to show you guys some Collins and some Viking stuff that I ran into this weekend that I did not buy. Did not buy any of that. But if you look at this right here, they can't hear you right now, Frank. Just heads up. That's my Yaesu FT736R. And it is a very clean radio that I bought from a friend of mine named Craig. He lives up in Oklahoma City. And I bought it 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. And I love it. I love it. It's only 25 watts on 2 meters, but it doesn't have a tone board, so I can't activate repeaters with it. I can't. You can add and remove tone boards to those things. Let me get Frank back over here. There it is. But that one didn't have a tone board. So I kind of quit using it a while back, and I started using my FT847, which is right there, for local repeaters around the area. Well, I was walking through the flea market outside on Friday, and there was a guy that had... Now, the great thing about the... Hey, there's Roy Mercer. That's Val.
Hey!
I outed Val in the chat. Sorry, Val. But... So, I was walking through the flea market on Friday, and I saw a guy with a 736R, and it was not quite as clean as this, and I was talking to him about it, and we were talking about... The great thing about the 736R is it's modular. It'll take up to 4 band modules. 2 meters, 440, 220, 6 meters, and 1.2 gigahertz.
Can you explain? I heard that thing before saying it was modular. What does it mean when it's modular?
It means it means like for every band you can open up the radio and you can pull this module out, and that's what adds the band to that radio. So the radio comes with 2 meters and 440, and it comes with 2 extra slots that you can add. So you can add 220 all mode. You can add 6 meter all mode. You can add 1.2 gigahertz all mode. They might have a 10. I'm not sure if they have a 10 meters.
Can you stack the modules? Or you can only use one at a time?
You can only use one at a time. Yeah, I think you can only use one at a time. But they're all mode. It's not just FM, so you can use sideband. That's what's great about it. It's sideband. I don't know if they have 900 megahertz, Dawn. I was asking that question this weekend, and I never did find an answer. I don't know if they have 900 megahertz, but that would be great because then there you can get on sideband with that too. So I ran across a 736R with 4 modules in it, 2 meters and 440, which are standard, plus the 220, plus the 1.2 gigahertz. Now that one's kind of rare. And a lot of times those modules, I found a 220 module on eBay that was sold. I couldn't find anything that was for sale. I looked at the sold items, and the last one, and this was like 2 years ago, and I found a 220 module, and it was like $350, $375, something like that, and it sold for that much. And I'm like, man, that's almost what I paid for the whole radio. So and Val was telling me that, okay, Val says there's no 900 for the 736R. I didn't think so, but I couldn't remember the answer to that question. Val's an expert on antique radios. So Val was saying that the 1.2 gigahertz module, which is also all mode, so you can do sideband on 1.2 gigahertz, which is cool. That one's goes for like $500 or $600 on eBay. Well, I found a radio. The guy was asking, and again, it didn't look as clean as this one here. But it had 2 meters, 440, 220, and 1.2, and the guy was asking $800 for it. And I'm like, shoot, man, the 2 extra modules in there that you don't get in the standard radio are worth more than that. So I bought it, and I'm going to take the 2 modules out, the 220 and the 1.2. I'm going to put it in my nice, clean-looking radio, and I'll probably sell the other one. But that was a really cool find this weekend because it was not something I was looking for. The 736R is a really cool Yaesu FT736R. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. It was one of the original desktop VHF, UHF, all mode radios, long before the IC 9700 existed.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like those modular designs that some of the companies did back then. But that was pretty cool. Those were the two things I got. And I took my Yaesu FT818, my Japanese version that I did the lunchtime live stream on a few weeks back. I took it up there. I did not sell it, so I'm gonna be posting that online for sale. If anyone's interested in that, shoot me an email. And I took on trade a Yaesu FTM 350, which is the older version Yaesu dual band. It's the one with the really large, beautiful looking screen. I haven't powered it up yet or looked at it, but I took that on trade, and I'm probably just gonna sell that one too. I don't have a need for it. It's a good radio. I just don't have a need for it. So I've got a couple more things to sell. I sold my IC 7200. I sold my... what else did I sell? I sold something else. I traded my Motorola in for a little bit of money off this TS480. And there was something else I sold. I can't remember what it was. What else I had on the table right now, but sold a couple things.
It wasn't the 818.
It wasn't the 818. No.
Did you have any, not filters, scopes? A band scope? Because
band scope, like an oscilloscope?
Not oscilloscope, but a antenna analyzer. Someone came by and asked, did we have one? I was like, no, I don't think we had one.
No analyzers.
I like to point out in the chat, RF Field Tech upgraded to Extra Friday.
Oh, nice. Very, very cool. Yeah. Congrats, man. So, yeah, there he is right there.
Rock on, man.
Rock on. So, good. So, yeah, I picked up the 736R, and you guys, I'll do a video about that later on. I'll probably do a video when I change out the modules and whatnot. So, I did like the 7200. I don't use it. I need to kind of downsize some stuff. The 7200 is great. I have a 7300 that I haven't used in a year. I haven't used a 7300 since I got my FTDX10, and I don't know. I don't need all those radios sitting around. So I'm not selling my 7300. I'm keeping that one. I'm hoping one of these days to get a 9700 to kind of pair with it, but we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, 7200 is a great radio. Love it. Did a couple of POTA activations with it. Good clean sounding radio, but I just didn't need it anymore, so I get rid of it. Let's see. I'm trying to watch the chat here.
You know who's not hanging around right now?
Who?
It's Mike.
I don't know where I haven't heard from him today.
Yeah. And we still got his jacket, which if he doesn't claim it, I'm gonna be giving it away.
That's right.
On one of my live streams, have a KAMRD hoodie, Bucky's hoodie, previously worn and used by KAMRD.
Worn one time.
Mm-hmm.
Worn one time by KAMRD. Hey, he left it in the trailer, so.
And I claimed it.
Okay. Yeah. All right, let's turn this
off. I bought something at the Hamfest.
You did? Okay.
I did. This is the first actual amateur radio themed purchase at the Hamfest.
Okay.
As you known in the past, I've bought in like train stuff that I've seen. But I actually bought cable jumpers about 1 foot in length for HF and using on bandpass filters. So I want to start playing with bandpass filters, and I got a couple ideas on how to use them and some other things, and I needed some jumpers. So I saw ABR. I said that right? Yeah, ABR there.
ABR.
And I picked up a couple of those cables, man. And I really like their cables that they build in the Faraday filter onto the cable.
It's a choke.
They build in the choke.
It's a choke. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a ferrite bead choke.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You said Faraday, you meant ferrite, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's a ferrite bead choke they build into it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So is that supposed to choke out the RF feeding back into the cable?
It helps with that. Yeah. It helps with RF coming back in, and it kind of helps with noise reduction as well. So you don't know you don't 100% need that all the time, but it does help. So yes, that is correct.
Says I should have picked up that cool skull I posted. I don't know what's going on with my Twitter. I've been getting notifications from everything except about what my Twitter account is actually people are posting and replying. So I don't know what's going on. I posted a picture and I heard nothing back from it. So I thought the picture flopped, but apparently it did very well. And it was a picture of a
you're just not getting notifications from it.
Well, okay. I'm getting notifications, but it's like, hey, Jason posted. Go ahead and look at what he's doing. And so-and-so posted. And so-and-so that you might not. So-and-so that you haven't friended or followed, but you might like. But anyone someone at replies me or, those are not coming through.
That's weird. Okay.
I don't know. So if y'all replied to that, I usually try to look, but I'm sorry. Like right now, my phone says there's nothing. Well. And something sad happened.
What?
I dropped my phone.
Oh yeah, you did drop your phone. He took his phone out of the case to put it on the
gimbal,
the Osmo gimbal, and then dropped it
because I forgot this phone case. So this phone case is green and it has it built in.
Yeah.
So this phone case does not, and it's extra thick, and I could drop this phone case on cement and be fine. But I had it out because the clamp doesn't clamp on here. I can literally torque the phone out of the clamp. So that's why I bought this guy.
Yeah.
And I forgot it, and then this is why I forgetting it. I cracked the screen. It's hard to see.
Yep.
Not too bad though. I'm just gonna live with it. It has another couple of years left.
I see Whiskey 7 Backroads in the chat. What's up, Brent? Are you going to Moore Expo? I can't remember if you said you were or not. So, but good to see you in the chat regardless.
To answer Ham Radio Crash Courses question.
And Josh was asking a question,
Never. I'm not paying for the blue check mark. I am disappointed. I wanted to get the blue check mark. I think I just started hitting the recommended level of followers to get the blue check mark, and now they took it away.
I got a blue check mark a few months back. I went through the steps, and then that was before you had to pay for it. So
I forgot the date.
I think it expires like the end of this month or something.
Yep, they're going to pull all the old blue check marks, then all the current check marks are the ones that paid for it.
Right. So, oh well. I don't know. I might pay for it. It depends on I don't know how much it's going to cost.
$8 a month.
A month?
Oh, a month.
I don't know. I thought it was like $20 a year or something like that.
Nope. It's $8 a month, and it can go up depending on what features you want with the blue check mark now. And I understand running things like a business, but I see so many advertisements on Twitter as is. They should be able to pay for their servers, especially with the huge reduction in staff that they did. All right. I'm done being criticism. Criticize them.
Kyle's going to make his own blue check mark, just so everybody knows.
You know what? We should do that. Put our own blue check marks.
Please copy the blue check mark. That's pretty good. So Brett says he's going to the Expo East this year. I certainly want to. I've got a conflict on that, so I'm not sure my schedule on that yet.
Expo East?
Overland Expo is a series of shows. They have 5, I think, throughout the nation. So Expo East is in Virginia. Expo Mountain is in Colorado.
Oh, this is
one I went to last year. Overland. Yeah, because I asked Brent if he was going to the Moore Expo this next weekend, which is an Overland show. So I will be teaching a class about how to get started in ham radio at this Overland show next year. So, and I did that last year too. So they asked me to do it again this year. So it's kind of proselytizing, if you can use that word. If you grew up in church, you know what that means. Proselytizing and evangelizing for ham radio at the Overland show this weekend.
That's a good word, Jason.
Yeah. Thank you.
You earned that $2 word today.
That's right.
The door chick has a great point about the blue check marks.
Have verification by known people, but now any jackwagon with a few dollars can get it.
Well, it's true. That was the point of it.
No. That was. She's right. She's very, very right. Very
also,
right, so.
I want to point out her cookie brownie mixtures that she brought us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, she made. They're called Brookies, brownie cookie things. So she made those for us, and they're good. They were good. So, Michael, thank you for the super chat, buddy. KD8GIJ. I think I'm reading that right. Just because it's been a while. Appreciate the super chat. All right, so this is something I saw that I did not buy.
Ooh.
What? So my wife is in the chat now. I didn't buy anything.
Just and you're pointing out stuff that you could have bought now.
Yeah, I could have bought this,
and
but
be
I didn't
happy
buy this,
we didn't spend the money.
I have wanted a Johnson Viking 2 for years. I got my brother-in-law, actually my wife's brother, brought me some of these old QST magazines a while back. Somebody in his neighborhood was getting rid of them, and he's like, "Hey, those are ham radio stuff. You should reach out to my brother-in-law." And I got these boxes and boxes of QST magazines dating back to like the 60s. I think one of them was like from 1948. So I kept the one that was my birth month and year. And and I know I'm just flipping through them kind of at random. And I saw this Johnson Viking 2 when it was brand new. It was like a 50s or 60s QST. And I'm like, that is just a beautiful freaking radio for that vintage, for that era. It's just a beautiful This one looked brand spanking new. This guy wanted $500 for this thing. It looked brand new.
It looks beautiful, man.
It's just a neat looking radio.
You said this was an amplifier? Or
No. This is the radio. This is the radio. It's tube driven, so you got to adjust the plate and the current and all that good stuff. Which I think would be a fun video because I'm not exactly 100% sure how to work a radio like that. I kind of know, but not. I'm sure that somebody knows better than I do. But I think that'd be a fun video. I think Josh has a video on how to do a tube amplifier. So he got a tube amplifier.
And don't you have to turn it on for like 10 minutes and let the tubes warm up?
Some of them you have to do that. Yes. Yeah. There's a reason they're called shack warmers. Anyway, this was a radio. So guy wanted $500 for it. I got his contact info. He didn't sell it. I saw him boxing it up yesterday, and I'm like, I don't know. It's a big radio, but it's just beautiful. Now, the really cool thing, that was the park this morning. This sucker, this was the ultra cool piece. This is a Viking Thunderbolt.
Yeah, this was what we were talking about.
This is the amplifier.
Yeah.
Okay? And he claims it'll do 1,000 watts on CW, which means it should probably do 1,000 watts on FT8. 750 watts on AM. And 2,000 watts on sideband, which is not legal. So I would never do that. I would. Yeah. Okay, Josh. Thanks, man. Yeah. Copy the tube. Yeah. Josh has a video on how to tune a tube amp. 811H, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, he did a really good video on how to set all that stuff on there. Because the transistor amp at KPA 500 I just go click, turn on. Okay, we're done. Key up and go. Tube amps are a little bit more, there's a few more steps to it. It's not hard. You just got to know what to do. So, but this Thunderbolt, man, this thing looked brand spanking new. And here's the coolest part about the Thunderbolt. It takes 10 watts to drive it. He said it would kick 1,000 watts on CW with a 10-watt drive. And I asked him, I was like, hey, so is it a proprietary cable to go from the Viking radio to the amp? Or is it, he's like, no, you can drive it with anything. So you could take your KX2 and drive this thing with 10 watts and kick a 1,000 watt CW, 2,000 watt sideband. So
I love this.
Or you could get really, really creative and do it with like a freaking a G90 or an X6100 and say 1,000 watts of Chinese talking power, baby. But yeah,
Chinese signal, so, American powered,
American made amplification. So
so go back to your previous one, the radio.
That's the radio. Mm-hmm.
I can't fathom what all those knobs do.
Well, one of them is a band change. One of them is tuning. One of them is volume, of course.
All right, so we eliminated
there's mode,
4 out
There's
of 20.
mode. There's a mode knob for it because it'll do CW, single. I think it'll do CW, AM, and single sideband. And yeah, and there's a few others in there. There's like a plate tuning and a current plate and all that kind of tube stuff with it.
But you only have two dials for feedback. I'm just so amazed by this.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Oh. Yes, Ralph. Yes, the Thunderbolt is 220. It's a 220 volt. And I asked the guy. I said, like, hey, how much does it weigh? And he's like, it's heavy. I'm like,
it's
okay,
heavy.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know.
I am not shipping this to you.
Yeah,
you
right. No. Well, this guy was in Belton, so presumably he's in Texas. I didn't ask him where he was from. I got his call sign. I was like, do you have email? He goes, yeah. So it's very possible that I'm going to contact this dude and be like, dude, I need to come get that.
Mm-hmm.
I need to come get that from you sometime. So, but the other thing I found, and let me switch this up. I got to make sure I get the right picture here. And I didn't. And now, who in the room is a Collins guy? Are there any Collins guys? Old Collins guys in the room? I think it's more than 70 pounds, Jody, because my old AL 1200 Ameritron amp is 70 pounds. I think it's more than that. So is anyone a Collins besides Val? I know Val's a Collins guy, but anybody a Collins guy? Old Collins,
my
old
neighbor
Drakes.
has old Collins.
He has a Collins, that guy with the big antenna?
No. This is my immediate next door neighbor.
Oh.
The guy with the big antenna has everything state of the art.
Okay. So I got a somewhat crash course, copyright strike by Josh, about Collins gear this weekend from a guy who had I'm going to forget the model number right now, but he had a transmitter and receiver. He had two of them. He had a transmitter and receiver. It looked brand spanking new. Beautifully restored radios that just looked great. And he had two of them. I was like, okay, so tell me about this one. He's like, this and this and this. And he talked to me for like 15, 20 minutes on Friday, on the setup day on Friday. And I was like, I was interested. He was talking. I was just letting him talk because I'm like, okay, this is cool. Well, then he pulls, and I said, okay, so these are separate. This is a transmitter receiver. He goes, yeah. He goes, oh, if you want to see something really cool, and then he pulls this out. Well, actually, he didn't pull it out. He opened the case. He had this in like a suitcase thing. This is a KWM2.
Oh,
and this is one of the first. If not the, he might have said the first, or one of the first transceivers made by Collins. It's from circa 1964, 5, 6. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, this is one of the first transceivers made by Collins. And it on the back, you can't see it in the picture, but on the back of this is a built-in power supply. So you just plug it in the wall, and it's a power supply that powers the radio. And I think I believe it's a 100-watt model. It'll do 10 meters. It will not do your work bands. It'll do 10, 15, 20, 40, and 80. It looks like. So that's the band. That's the exciter tuning up at the top and the band selector down there. I think it'll do 30 and no, it won't do 60. I think it does 75, 80. I don't think it does 12, 17, and 30. I think it does everything else. But yeah, that's the, and this guy wanted $1,200 for that, and I did get his contact info, and I'm like, you know what? And I have no idea if that's a good price or not. He was very, very knowledgeable in Collins gear, and I was talking to him about Collins. I just like that kind of that vintage look.
Oh, it looks beautiful, man. I love that the color scheme they chose.
Yep.
And Collins pops as the font plate they have there. If I had the money, man, just like you.
I know, yeah.
But apparently you're going to have less. The chat saying Leia is going to come after you with a bat and your kneecap. So if you don't want to be any shorter, pay that fee.
Yeah. The copyright strike fee, yeah. So yeah, he was a cool little guy that was selling some gear and he packed that up and he didn't sell I think he sold the transmitter receiver. I think it looked like he had less gear on his table when he was leaving, but I'm pretty sure he packed that up and took it home. So he's like, well, I'll take a credit card. He goes, can I box this up for you? I'll take your credit card. And I'm like, you're killing me, dude. You are killing me right now. So
Nature's Child says the hole in the top is for a crank starter.
Right. Yeah, just about. But no, the hole in the top, you can open up the cover and you can do stuff in it.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
was
yeah.
back when hams used to work on their own radios.
Well, it's
you
to
can
access
do a lot of
the
stuff to it.
tubes.
So.
I bet.
Yes,
Replace the tubes.
correct. Yep.
God, I want a tube
Yep.
radio.
Yep.
That'd be so cool
Yep.
to have.
I mean, my 101 double E right there is a tube radio, and I made a couple of contacts with it. I made a couple of contacts with it, but I don't use it extensively. So yeah, I thought that was some really cool equipment. I refrained and resisted from buying any of the Johnson Viking stuff or any of the Collins stuff, but I'm going to do a little bit of research on my own. I have no idea what these things would go for online. I'm not trying to look at it to resell. Like that 736R, I'm going to resell it without the modules in it. But I just thought that was some neat gear. It was just, and that's the kind of thing you see at Belton often. Often, I saw some guys with some Drake twins there. I didn't see anybody with any Kenwood twins this time, but very often I've seen guys with Kenwood 599 twins, both the silver and the gold face. Some Heathkit stuff here and there. Just a bunch of Collins stuff. A lot of times Collins receivers and whatnot. So, but that's the kind of thing you find at Belton. If you didn't make Belton this time, and if you're within, I don't know, I'd say a 4 or 5 hour drive, or especially less than that. I would say make plans to go to Belton next October, because that's the kind of stuff. If you're looking for that kind of stuff, or if you have a bunch of that stuff in your garage, come buy a table for $10 or $20 or whatever.
Belton or a swap meet by you. Doesn't have to be ours. Just go out and participate in your own local swap meet. You never know what you're going to find, and you never know what you're going to sell unless you go.
It's true.
And you don't even have to have a stable. I've seen several people walking around with bags that says, "Ask me about my blah blah blah."
Oh blah, yeah. Well, and I there was something else cool I saw. There was guys selling an 857. A couple of guys selling an 857. I saw an 897 for about $500. Looked with the external tuner that comes with it, that's made for it. So 897 was going. I saw a couple guys with IC7000s. I almost bought. There was one guy that had an FT2980, which is a monoband FM only 2-meter radio from Yaesu that does about 80 watts on 2 meters. And I want to buy something like that I can mount in my RV and just permanently and wire it to the battery and permanently leave it there, so that when I get to camping spots, I'll have like a drive over mast or some. I'm going to probably attach something to the back bumper of the RV and have a push-up pole up there that I can put up like a 2-meter antenna, and then I can have 80 watts pumping out on 6.52. So, and just kind of something to monitor and talk around the camp with, in case, especially if your RV park is at a Parks on the Air. Or like, at Huntsville, Hamfest upcoming, Montesano, we'll be camping there again. So, but yeah. So I saw guys selling ones in really good shape. I didn't want to spend any more money. I'd already bought the two things I'd bought by that point in time. I was like, I think I'll wait.
Well, the weather -1 day was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful on Saturday, and it was kind of cloudy on Friday, and we got a little bit of misty rain Friday afternoon for like a half hour.
It was long enough to turn into dampness and lots of water everywhere.
Yeah.
Minus that, it was great. It was awesome. Next year, Mother Nerf National Park.
Yes.
I enjoyed camping at Cedar. But it felt like it was just camping my backyard.
Yes.
But it was fun. It was a beautiful park.
We're gonna have to check for to see how far out we can book a site there next time.
When I was walking to the restroom this morning, there was a hidden playground. Like, this playground was surrounded by all the trees in the middle area. That was so cool.
Yeah.
I would have loved that as a kid. Great national park, great camping grounds. Actually, the camping area we stayed at just reopened. They were doing lots of roadworks and things, so that area just reopened. It's a big national park. It's the closest thing we have to a summit. and it's not a Silhouette.
Yeah. No, it's not. Unfortunately,
Red.
It should
fix
be.
that. Fix that.
Should be. It's the highest point in DFW for sure. That's not saying a lot, but it is the highest
all
point
the
in
antenna
DFW.
towers over there.
I know it. All the TV antenna towers are there. So I'm reading some of the Robert's in the chat. What's up, dude? So he said he saw some Icom bookshelf transceivers. I don't know what that is. Icom bookshelf transceivers. I'm gonna have to look that up. Got to hang with Robert and Vern a little bit this weekend, so it was good to see you guys again. Let's see. Digital Dreamer says, I can't wait to buy the 120-watt version of the G9 and the G120X. I think that's a joke. But that would be cool to see. I've never seen anything high power come out of China that's worth a darn. I don't think that they do high power yet. I bet they will. So, RF Field Tech, Dawn, you said you had a FT7100M that's just collecting dust if I'm interested. I'm not familiar with that radio, so send me an email. I'll Google it. I'll Google it and see what that is. I was wanting something high power VHF for my campsite, for my RV, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, good deal. Thanks for being here, Don. I'm glad you're feeling better, dude. So
I'm glad he's home and was up to taking the extra test, putting both of us to shame.
That's right. Yeah, it's not hard to do, but
I know.
Yeah, good deal. Good to see Anime in the chat as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the kind of stuff you see at Belton, and just sometimes you find really good deals and find stuff that you're just like, crap, I got to go to the ATM now.
Yeah.
Have any broken radios for sale? Possibly bad diodes? No, because I fixed it, Ron. Thanks to your help. Hey, where were you guys? Is that okay, Ron? Is that giveaway? And you know which one I'm talking about? Is that happening in October? I think that's happening in October. I thought you guys would have a booth set up there. I did some Fusion. Richard from Main Trading Company had a Fusion node set up in his RV that was on full time. So we got to talk on some Fusion this weekend. That was fun. So
apparently, I'm doing some digging. The Icom IC202 bookshelf HF receiver. So the radio is vertical like a book.
Yeah, makes sense.
And
I'm still not familiar with those models though.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay.
And there's a range of models like that you can put side by side, and they got the nickname bookshelves.
Good.
So that's interesting. Today I learned something.
Right. Okay, Ron, I need to start sharing that on my Friday videos, my Friday shopping videos. So I thought about that the other day for some reason. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I wonder if they're going to be here. But yeah, I saw a couple of the guys. They had an old Collins or Yaesu old receiver or something sitting on the table, and it said it was the something Valley Digital Radio Club, and I'm like, so what digital mode does this old Collins do? I thought that was funny. I made myself laugh. It wasn't funny, but I thought it was funny. So somebody from your neck of the woods, Ron. But yeah. All right, so Robert says IC 502, 202, and 402. I'm going to have to look that up. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. If they're receivers, I'm less interested. I just don't find the thrill in receivers, but
they're transceivers.
They're transceivers.
They're transceivers.
Okay.
It's just the series of receivers that are built like you can just stack them on a bookshelf.
Stack them on a bookshelf. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
I missed them, but
yeah.
I wouldn't even know what I'm looking at. I just want to be like, cool boat anchors.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see those pictures of the guys in the memes or the old QST magazines, and they've got like 4 or 5 shelves high of just old vintage looking gear. That's what I'm starting back here.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to get a taller shack though, because
you need to reinforce it.
Right? Yeah.
Scott, ham radio from Non-Techies, probably gonna buy a FTM 400 to replace the one from the accident.
Wait for the 500. It's got some cool updates, I'm told.
Mm.
So, yeah. So, yeah, FTM 500. So, still don't. They said March on that, but I think you'll probably see that in another week or two. Actually, I'm hoping to get some info about that this week. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah. Anyway, so Belton was a great show and had a really fun time. I hope some of you got some Parks on the Air activations done this weekend, and
lots of them
had a good time with that. So, here's something else that's pretty cool. No, wait a minute, hold on. Where did it go? I thought I didn't take a picture of it. This guy, the guy that had the Collins gear, had an old, beautifully, pristinely restored AM radio, desktop radio. It was like yay big, about maybe 15, 16 inches wide, about foot and a half tall, something like that. And it had the big dial in the middle of it. You turned it and turned the AM radio. Just very if you like that kind of old-timey looking stuff, very vintage looking, completely restored. And I think he was wanting like $400 for it because it looked brand spanking new. So it was something else that was pretty cool to see them. But that's just kind of the neat stuff you see at Belton. So I like looking around at that stuff. I've never bought any of that stuff yet. Well, I do have some Kim Note 599 twins right there. And one of these days I'll get those hooked back up again. But yeah.
Before we go ahead and sign off here, let's hear where everyone activated. While we let that question roll out, because we activated at the same place. What was your contact that stood out to you this weekend?
Me or
you? Well, you think about that. Mine was the Alaska guy.
Yeah, I heard the Alaska guy.
I got Alaska. I was so happy. I was like, Alaska! What's your park number? Oh, you're just working me from home.
He's just in Alaska.
Oh, thank you, man. You're still awesome.
Yeah.
I need you need to go do a parking and call me back.
Shane activated 3 parks this weekend: 1139, 7378, and 3412. So that's
nice.
Very cool.
So what was yours standout?
You know what? I made so few contacts. But I got Puerto Rico, which is not that unusual, really. It's going to be hard to top Australia, which I got from Galveston last month when I was those 6 days that I went to the park in a row. I'm calling is on 10 meters. I'm calling CQ and a freaking Australia guy. He said Victor Kilo 7 something something. It was not Hayden. And I'm like, did you say Victor Kilo? You hear Canada all the time. So what? Actually, I thought he said Victor Echo at first, which is Canada. I'm like, did you say Victor Echo 7? No, Victor Kilo. He was like a 4x4. He was down in the noise, but I could hear him. And he's a Victor Kilo 7, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're in Australia? Yeah, I'm like, dude, that's freaking cool. So yeah, 10 meter on fire anime, very, very true. So yeah, it's gonna be hard to top that one. But yeah, that was fun to do.
Shane said he worked Scotland and France today and got his park to park from Alaska.
Good.
Jealous.
That's cool.
Jealous.
That's cool. I worked Scotland and France on 10 meters from Galveston also. I got several stations in England or Manchester that were at a park. And then I got just some random guy in Scotland, and then in one guy in France, one guy in Italy, the guy in Australia, and a couple of south of it, Chile.
I didn't get Chile.
Venezuela. Nice. Venezuela is fairly easy to get from Galveston if there's somebody on the air. I got a Mexican station with an X-ray Foxtrot call, which is unusual. Most of the Mexican stations I hear are X-ray Echo calls. So I got an X-ray Foxtrot call on 10 meters. This was all on 10 meters when I was in Galveston last month. So yeah, 10 meters is freaking awesome right now. So I was hoping that 10 meters was going to be great this weekend, and I was very disappointed that it was not any good. Not where we were anyway.
Wayne, W5WNR said he activated 4422. So awesome, nice. There.
He says, but Serena activated her first park.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Then I'm just trying to read through these.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Digital Dreamer says he worked 2 VK stations with 1 watt of power on his G90.
Ooh.
Wow. Very cool.
That's working it. You know, all you need is a good antenna.
Oh,
in
yeah.
favorable band conditions, 1 watt will get you around the world. 1 watt will get you the long distance echo where you can hear yourself. You just need a good antenna and a favorable day to do it.
So Emily, my wife Emily, she was asking me, she's like, would you let me, not let me, I think she said, do you want me to activate POTA? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll get you out and get you activate POTA. So of her own accord, she goes onto the POTA website and creates her own account with her call sign. And then she was, this is great. I love this. This is great. So today, she's a Facebook lurker. Okay, she joins these Facebook groups and reads through them, and sometimes she'll comment. But she's a Facebook lurker. So she's on the POTA, the Parks on the Air Facebook group now. She joined the group. She's reading through and everything. And she's like, so I read something today. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, apparently it's a heated debate about whether you should clear out on a frequency. If you're activating Parks on the Air, you should clear out if there's a net about to start. I'm like, oh, boy. Here we go.
My answer is...
She
if
said,
someone's currently working the band, they not own, but they're the rightful operator at the time.
Yeah.
And any other station should move and let that person work the bands because you're causing interference.
So she said one guy came by and says you should look up all the HF nets and not ever work any of those frequencies. And she said that all the replies to that guy were like, no, that's dumb. You're no way. That's stupid. And because I'm like, if you look, I could show you a website that lists all, and it's probably not all, of the HF nets. There's hundreds of them. There's an HF net on every frequency everywhere at every time of day. But I mean, that doesn't mean you can hear them all. Some of them are overseas. Some of them are in another country. Some of them just are on bands you can't hear right now. But yeah, I'm like, that here's my rule. If I'm on a POTA park and someone comes by and is polite and says, hey, in about 10 or 15 minutes, we usually start a net this day. Would you mind moving? I was like, no, I don't mind moving. Thanks for letting me know. I'll be happy to clear out in QSY. I can find another frequency. Not a big deal.
Most times I would agree. I would do that. Unless I'm working that fire of a pile up. No, man, I'm not giving that up.
You know what? The fire of a pile up, if you have it that hot and heavy, they will follow you. They will, and you just say, hey, I'm going to QSY. I'm going to try to go down 5 or 10 or 15 kilohertz, something like that. I will spot myself on the POTA page when I get there, and I've done that before. I've done that, and the pilot will follow you. But one time that in my recollection, one time in my history, and I wasn't at Parks on the Air. I was in Costa Rica. One time I had some jackass come on there, and he wasn't even talking. Well, he was talking to me, but I was hunting a CQDX station from South America somewhere. I don't remember where it was. And he was calling CQDX, and I was trying to go back to him with my Costa Rica call sign. And I kept calling back to the guy, and he wasn't hearing me. I think I finally worked him, if I remember correctly, but he wasn't hearing me at first. But after I went back to him the second or third time, some guy gets on there. He's like, hey, we're about to start a net on this frequency. And I just ignored the guy. I'm like, I don't know if he's talking to me. He didn't call me. I just ignored the guy. So I heard the CQDX again, and I went back to the guy. And then this guy, this other net guy, he comes back to me. He's like, hey, HWB, we're about to start a net. I need you to clear off. And I'm like, dude, if you would shut up for like a half a second, I'm trying to work the CQDX station. And I'll work, once I work him, I'll clear off, but I can't work him over your jib-jabbing. And he's like, well, can you tell him to move? I'm like, no, I can't tell him to move. You call him and tell him to move. You can't hear him. That's not my freaking problem. I'm not clearing people off of a frequency that you don't own for your stupid ass net. So that's that. Not that I feel strongly about it or anything. So, but, yeah.
Yeah,
So, just like, yeah.
I'm gonna follow
but
the rule.
that happened to me one time, and several other times people have come by and said, hey, would you mind? No, I don't mind. I don't mind. You're being nice. You're being polite. I like to share. I don't own the frequency any more than you do. Yeah, you got a net starting. I'll go elsewhere. That's not a problem. So, yeah.
I most of the time I usually don't have a big pile up. If you ask nicely, yes, I will clear off.
Yeah.
But I don't like the guys that come in there chest beating.
Yeah.
We got a net that we've been running here for the last 30 years and we haven't skipped a week. You need to leave because we own this frequency and we're about to bring up the net for the 6th time today.
Right.
And we don't like you.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So I just so that could be a topic for another live stream. We could just talk about who owns the frequency.
Dude.
Short answer. We all do.
Yes. Some comments I copied down. Boats.young. He worked Scotland and Finland on a 10-meter hand stick today.
I saw that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, rock on. He's in Washington. Marvin worked Park 1920 and got his 5,200 QSO today.
Nice.
Very cool. That's 5-time kilo award. Damn.
I'll have a 5-time kilo at Galveston Island eventually.
Shane's call sign that we've been talking about is KI6QFI. He also got a kilo award today at park number 1139. Cool. So thank you very much. Rock on. Cool. I'm getting close. And Randy activated park number kilo 0929.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you guys who had successful POTA today or this weekend, I'm glad to hear that. Ours was successful. We activated the park both yesterday and today. We got more than 10 contacts per day. Or at least I did. I got more than 10 contacts. I got like 25 last night and like 35 this morning or something like that.
Is there something for the early shift in POTA?
I don't remember.
I remember seeing something that said early, and maybe I'm just making it up. I'm logging in now. Yeah,
you can go ahead. There's a lot of different stuff. I don't have them all memorized. There's a lot of different awards you can get. There is a late shift activator and late shift hunter. There's a repeat offender late shift activator and hunter, I think.
Early shift activator contacts.
There you go.
All right, so that's what it is. I have 4. Now we go to, I'm assuming that it's going to be in the parks, what it's listed, what counts as an early shift. So my activations, Cedar Hill, early shift, 8 UTC to 11 or 8 UTC to 14 UTC, which is what for us non-UTCers?
8 UTC is currently 3 a.m. for us.
What? 3 a.m. to...
You said 1400 UTC?
Yeah, 9?
That's 9 a.m.
So, okay.
So 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. local time for us right now. We're at UTC minus 5.
So the other question we had is, or I had during this activation, how many hours it counts for late shift? Late shift here is shows for Cedar Hill State Park from 00 UTC to 8 UTC. So late shift is everything up to the early shift. So that is 8 hours you have. So
00 UTC for us right now is 7 p.m. So I guess you'd have from 7 p.m. to 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Which, if the band was rolling last night, I would have been happy to work till 3 in the morning last night. It would have been fun.
Then you roll into early shift. But that doesn't count as a different day. The day only swaps over on the late shift.
The day swaps one time, every 24 hours.
Yeah.
Counts as it doesn't count as
every 24 hours at the late shift time, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
For us. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. We could do another episode on all the different variances on POTA. We ended up talking about POTA a lot of the times anyway, so
There was an interesting volcanoes on the air. Someone mentioned
somebody was calling CQ VOTA VOTA on FT8 last night. I worked 2 or 3 FT8 because the band was so freaking noisy on 20. I worked 2 or 3 FT8 before we just got tired and went to bed. But it was really dark out there after the sun went down. But yeah, somebody was calling CQ VOTA on there. I don't know if it was volcanoes on the air or Volkswagens on the air.
Well, I don't know. Everyone jokes around with that, on the air.
Yeah.
Parking garages on the air.
Right, yeah.
Walmart's on the air.
Yeah. Volunteers on the air. That's what it was. Volunteers on the air, they say. Okay.
That's the ARRL thing.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with that.
That is ARRL. See if I can figure that out. Volunteers on the air. ARRL.
I've heard someone call volcanoes on the air before, so I thought, I don't think that's really a thing, but it's kind of cool. You're sitting on the side of a volcano working at ham radio, so yeah, that's neat. So
they just need to, I'm on their page about it. Scoreboard. They just need to say what it is up front.
Ron, I have done a volcano on the air because the place we stay in Costa Rica is in the foothills of the Miravilis volcano. And we've activated in there before. So,
a year-long operating and recognizing volunteers. Now they got a scoreboard, announcement guidelines, not like a brief explanation.
Well, maybe we can bring that up in another live stream. I think we're out of time now. So.
Well, we're only out of time when we say we're out of time.
Well, maybe.
Volunteers
I did work. Okay, one last thought. I was calling something else that cool that happened at POTA. I think I was on 10. I can't remember if I was on 10 or 20 meters. I can't remember what band I was on. I've got it logged. But I'm calling CQ POTA from Galveston, and I hear W1AW/7 come back to me. And I'm like, okay. W1AW, come on. And he's like, hey, give me your call sign again. I said, Kilo Charlie 5 Hotel. He's like, dude, this is K6UDA. Freaking Bob, K6UDA was out there working W1AW. They got remote stations now. So I talked to him for 5 or 10 minutes. I'm like, man, how are you doing? So he's back working ham radio. We're going to get him on a lunchtime live stream upcoming sometime.
Good.
That was fun. That was fun to talk to Bob over the air like that. I've talked to Bob I've made contact with Bob over HF before, but it was fun to catch up with him again. So, yeah.
Awesome. So after this stream, I'll be submitting logs, and I'm going to be firmly cementing my place number 5 in Cedar Hill.
Good. Excellent. Vegans on the air. That's a good one. Yeah. If you want to really hear someone promoting their belief system, vegans on the air. Yeah. Not so much. So, all right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. If we saw you at Belton this weekend, thank you for coming up and saying hi. It was always love Belton. Always a fun show. As far as I know, we'll go to the one in October. They'll do it again in October. And typically speaking, if I'm in town and the weather's good, I will be at Belton. So I don't have any plans for October as of right now. So most likely we'll pull the trailer down to Belton again.
Actually, don't we have something in October? Oh, no, that's September beforehand.
Is that the October Fest? I think that's the Fredericksburg thing. I think that's in
always
September.
Yeah, I keep getting that confused.
Yeah. I gotta make sure I get that on. It's on my calendar. I just gotta make sure I remember it. So, well, cool. Thank you, everyone.
Fredericksburg is in October. Is in October.
Okay. It's on my calendar whenever it is. So cool. Well, thanks, guys. Once again, thank you to everybody who came out to Belton this weekend. Everybody who we worked on the air for the little bit that we did last night, and we will talk to y'all this week. If you are around the Springfield, Missouri area next weekend, look up the Moore Expo and come out and hang out with some Overlanders. And I heard quite a bit of activity, simplex activity on 6.52 at the Moore Expo last year. So I met up with Carlos the first time. Carlos, I forget Carlos's call sign right now. Not Carlos skydiving Carlos, but
Okay.
another Carlos. And Kyle was there. Shane and I are driving up together. We're going to meet Kyle there. We're going to camp Thursday and Friday night, and maybe Saturday night too. And so we will have a ham radio presence at the show this weekend, and I will be doing a presentation about how to get started in ham radio. So looking forward to that. So yep.
You better record it.
Look for videos on that for sure. So 73 to all. Thank you for joining us tonight. Everyone have a good rest of the evening, and we will talk this week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.